Thank you. Kind of following up on what Ms. Pingree asked from a different perspective. As I mentioned in my opening statement, the President's skinny budget request proposes deep cuts in the EPA that might not be able to be fully replicated. I'm not opposed to significantly reducing the size of the EPA. My House bill last year cut the EPA by nearly 20%. The first budget requested by President Trump in his first term was a 30% reduction of the EPA. A 54% cut may be bridged too far to be able to achieve, but we'll see. I just wanted to start off with a question about this. If Congress chooses to provide discretionary appropriations for the agency that are at levels above the President's budget request, how would you handle that? In other words, would you spend the amounts provided in the enacted bill and for the specific programs that Congress identifies in the bill?
Yes, we will absolutely follow the law. It's also my commitment to Congress that we have a zero tolerance policy towards wasting any tax dollars. So we also want to make sure that every dollar that's appropriated by Congress is spent efficiently. We don't want to spend money just to spend it. We want to make sure that if I'm coming back before this committee, that I'm able to explain how the money is getting spent. We're not going to just spend it to spend it, but we will follow the law.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Now I want to ask you about the Rural Drinking Water Technical Assistance Program. I have supported this program for many years because it works for Idahoans and I think across especially rural America. EPA funding goes directly to rural water technical assistance providers that are located across the country to help rural water systems comply with federal statutes to ensure safe and clean water and to evaluate system needs and to access funding opportunities. And because these TAs providers are state-based at rural system operators is talking to someone who is from their state and is well-suited to help solve the unique challenges of that town or service area. Prior budget requests from both Democratic and Republican administrations have eliminated funding for this program. I think that's because it's an easy money saver in the budget request, and Congress always restores funding for it because it has such strong bipartisan support. I hope that when we see the full budget request, we'll be seeing funding for this program. Over the years, I've worked to address some of the issues in this program, like pushing back against efforts to shift the model of the program to a nationwide call center in which someone based in New York could be assigned to a rural Idaho town, and opposing proposals to shift away from awarding this funding on an annual basis. Can you commit to the following congressional direction as it relates to this program, including selecting awardees that are the most qualified and experienced in providing training and technical assistance to small public water systems and awarding funding on an annual basis?
Yes, I can commit to that, Chairman.
Is the full year continuing resolution, which provided government funding for the remainder of the fiscal year 2025, Congress included an additional $17 million for the EPA to modernize its IT systems that were used to process chemical risk assessments under the TSCA program. Can you give us an example of what is the outdated system and what it means that the agency is increasing their IT?
Chairman, the system has been unstable. The system will crash. It's outdated, and the investment will be used to help obviously address those concerns as it relates to stability, but also to make sure that the agency is operating more efficiently. We inherited a lot of different backlogs. I mentioned earlier the state implementation plans. We inherited a missed deadline as it relates to biofuels. We inherited a big backlog on the pesticide program, new chemicals office, and we want to work through all of that. And the reorg is going to help us get through these backlogs, and this funding appropriation that you all included is going to help in dealing with our IT concerns.
Thank you. Ms. McCollum?